Oh, a little holiday cheer on it. I'm going to keep saying Friday. It feels like our Friday show. It is going to be our Friday show here on Thursday, but it is still yet a Thursday. It's funny that traffic was not quite exactly what I thought it normally is, but hopefully everybody's got the Friday off, or they're spending their Friday today on a real Thursday for us as we get ready for a big holiday weekend. We start our show with a very happy holidays to you, to yours, to family. Ryan, to you, your family. Did you do it?
Today's the day, Matt.
Today's the day. I'm sure there will be a lot of great items for Ryan. But nonetheless, a great way to kick off the show. The Browns in action this weekend. I don't think it's going to be C.J. Stroud for them. Battling our own injury, certainly. Cavs, Sam Merrill, what a holiday gift he has been for the city of Cleveland. We're doing our Friday show. We got our NFL picks with Sonny Gupta. We're going to make our own. We got the Friday report card. We'll sneak in a little bit of time hop today as well, including maybe the morning update. I don't know. We got Noah Weiskopf joining us as well from the OBR. We got you locked and loaded. Very happy holiday season. And as always, right here on Big Play. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Matt Fontana. He is Ryan Tyler. We are in the festive season. I thought you said you were going to dress up today.
I was, Matt. I had a nice Christmas suit, but I couldn't find it.
Oh.
I was very disappointed.
You only need it once a year.
It had snowmen on it. I should have prepared better, but it's okay.
I have an ugly sweater. I didn't wear it, but my son had PJ Day today at school, so that was a big day for them. They're going to watch Polar Express. I heard the big guy is going to stop by. So exciting times there, but certainly a very festive season. Quick reminder as we do start the show, we're going to be off tomorrow. We'll be back next Wednesday. My wife's birthday is the day after Christmas, so it's always a nice time to spend with the family for us. So we'll be off until Wednesday. But again, we got all our picks coming up with Tipico. Sonny is going to join us literally in about 15 minutes. So we'll get his thoughts on the slate of the games for the weekend. You got football at the wazoo, man.
Good.
You got game tonight.
I need it.
2 games or 3 games Saturday. Game Sunday, and you have 3 on Monday for the holiday coming up with the NFL. So we're going to start Browns this morning. Certainly, we will discuss a lot of Cavs after a nice win last night. Sam Merrill has turned it. He and Joe Flacco have saved the Cavs in Browns seasons. Joe Flacco and Sam Merrill coming in and saving the Cleveland sports holiday season right there. So we'll talk a lot of Cavs this morning as well as we gear up for a giant weekend for them. But we start with the Browns, and yesterday, Browns did the really smart thing. They got the walkthrough. And I think the biggest thing of the updates that we look for Joel Bitonio, coach said he didn't really have anything there. It's just how he feels every day when he comes in. But we turn over to Houston, and they did not have C.J. Stroud practice. And as it's kind of been all week, they're not projecting him to start. And the thing is, he's still in the concussion protocol. But, Ryan, something that we have had to deal with here in this town, it's not even like at the 11th hour, if he somehow clears concussion protocol, it's that they got to get Case Keenum ready to play. And if you think that Houston is making that shift over to give Case Keenum the start, you're going to prepare all week. You can't just go back on that. You can't just go back on all that. So I would really say it is going to be C.J. Stroud. And yesterday, Kevin Stefanski, we'll hear from him in a minute, discussed about we prepare for all the quarterbacks. And I liked one of the lines that he said, and we'll pull that sound up here now, is that it's easy to fall into that false sense of security. And I'd be lying to you if I said I haven't. That, oh, man, come on, C.J. Stroud's out. What are we doing here? But you still have got to be laser-focused for this game. Really, frankly, because the Browns are on the road. And we talk how good they are at home. I don't want to say how they struggle on the road. They've had some tough games on the road. But, yeah, the thing is that they play much better at home. This is a road game. This is kind of a fluky type of game. But nonetheless, you are facing a backup quarterback. Here's Kevin Stefanski yesterday talking about the Houston quarterback situation and how they prepare for it on the side of the Browns.
We prepare for all of their quarterbacks. I think you have to do that in this league. So we'll monitor that like everybody else does, but you have to prepare for all their guys. And the truth is all their guys can beat you. They've all won. I think C.J. Stroud's having as good a year as there is at that position for rookies. Doesn't not look like a rookie. The way he plays, the decision-making, the physical talent is off the charts. And then Case, comes in last week, starts and wins. That's what he does. He's played a lot of football games in his career, started a lot of football games in his career, has won. So we know the type of talent that he has as well.
That right there, when he said they can still beat you, I needed that. I need that reminder that it's still, this isn't Tommy DeVito, okay?
Hey.
Hey. You got to slice the garlic really thin.
That was an unnecessary
Really
shot.
thin. Sorry. Would you mean insert another quarterback there for me?
Ryan Tannehill.
No, I'm talking about like a rookie guy.
Oh,
that
I
like
thought you meant a scrub.
Yes. Okay, you're not wrong in that statement.
Aiden O'Connell. Even
Okay,
though he's
fine.
decent.
He's pretty big. He's pretty. But you're not facing no-name rookie quarterback who can't play. Because God forbid we disparage young Tom DeVito here on this show. But that's what I'm saying. You have Case Keenum. He's done this. He's done this for the Browns. You know that this is exactly the type of role that he thrives in, that he can do. So it's super important that the Browns keep that focus. And it's even for myself. Because I sit here at this point, I'm like, oh, man, come on now. What are we doing? And for the Browns, the other side of that, too, is Will Anderson. Because he didn't practice. I got conflicting reports on that. I saw something that said he might practice, and then I saw reports that he wasn't out at practice yesterday.
There was also reports yesterday that Joe Flacco was limited at practice, even though they didn't practice.
Well, and that's people jumped on Florio, and Florio's a pretty polarizing figure in the NFL side of things. Will Anderson did not practice yesterday, by the way. So yes, the Browns did the smart thing. They had a hell of a walkthrough. Because Flacco's got this calf and you got some other guys with some nagging injuries. Just do that. You're in a dome on Sunday, which will be nice. And they did a nice walkthrough, which is great. Here's the injury report for Houston. Did not practice yesterday. Will Anderson, Blake Cashman, their linebacker, C.J. Stroud, as we know, Laramie Tunstall, then their safety, Jimmy Ward, Shaq Mason, a guard, Mechie, a backup tight end. So they had quite a few guys that missed out. The two guys that I look at, we know. Well, really three. Laramie Tunstall, C.J. Stroud, and Will Anderson. So if we know Stroud's not going to play, it'd be nice if Laramie Tunstall didn't play, but linemen can be a little bit different. But I'm really kind of circling that Will Anderson one right there. You've had good guard play. You've had good tackle play thus far, kind of peeking it through here. But if you got to potentially start 4 of your backup offensive linemen, it'd be nice to not have a guy like Will Anderson on the field. So we'll keep our eye out for that. But nonetheless, as we approach this game, Ryan, it's not going to be as simple as just rolling the footballs out. I think we got to be super laser focused. I know the Browns are. You got to believe that Case Keenum can beat you. Insert your, I know, you want to laugh about that, but you can't. It's important. Want to talk Cavs just for a minute because we got Sonny coming up in 7 minutes. Wow. Who would have thought you lose Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell and we can all of a sudden hit threes? What did I say? What did I say on the show? I said, here's an opportunity. Jack up a bunch of threes and see what happens.
I also remember, Matt,
Holy
I
cow.
recall maybe about last week, one of our shows, I asked you the question I proposed, if you could bring back a player from the Cavs to bring to this team. And it was obviously I said you can't bring back LeBron. But you said, I don't know, maybe like a guy like Kyle Korver.
I said Kyle Korver.
Maybe Sam Merrill's Korver 2.0.
Why not? Why not? Young Samuel, 2 straight games upping his career high.
When does he get a nickname?
Oh, I'm sure it's already happened. Super Sam. It's too easy. There's something with Merrill.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is. Dude, get Cody on this. We need a big play Sam Merrill shirt.
Yeah, we do.
Can we get Sam Merrill in here? We didn't talk to Booby. We didn't get Sam Merrill in here.
We do.
We need to introduce him to some of the fans out there. That's a great win for the Cavs last night. Dude, if you're Utah, come on, man. How do you lose that game? Seriously. We are missing our 3 best players. I give the Cavs so much credit for that. I give JB Bickerstaff so much credit for that. I know it's going to be a trying time. But wins like that, all I ask is that they maintain. All I ask is that they go 500 in this stretch. And I'm going to not change that. I will tell you, sitting here today, even right after that game last night, that was so much fun to watch. I'm not going to change it. Just keep this afloat while they're out, and we'll see. And, I text my buddy Nick a lot during the games. We both have kids. We're both up watching the game and all that kind of stuff. And we were going back and forth on just kind of how sustainable is this, right? Because the Cavs are doing something. They really remedied they remedied one of their biggest issues all of a sudden. Shooting can go cold instantly, right? There can be games that you're just off. But what I like to see is that these guys are building a little bit of momentum. They're building a little bit of confidence. Sam Merrill now thinks he believes. I'm sorry. He thinks and he believes that he deserves to be on an NBA court. That he can go out. The 1-3 that just sticks out to my mind was, I think Okoro missed one. Niang got the offensive rebound. They kicked it maybe back to Okoro, and then it found its way back to Merrill. He was just off left center, like almost left wing, and he splashes that 3. And I was like, ooh, yeah.
Minivan wasn't playing around last night.
No, I mean, you're going to need him to step up. You're going to need Tristan Thompson to step up. Here's the crazy, and I feel bad because I feel like this guy has become a little bit of a pincushion for us.
Dean Wade?
No, we know he's that. Jared Allen. Jared Allen. And that's, I guess, to take a positive out of it. You've won 3 games in a row where I don't really think Jared Allen's played all that well. Now, he had 17 last night, so I don't want to sniff at that. But it's going to be guys. It's going to be who? It's going to be Max Strus. I've mentioned who? Karis LeVert.
He won me some cash last night.
Did he?
Yeah.
They didn't get our boost up. I was so mad about that.
I wouldn't have, unfortunately wouldn't have hit.
Well, it wouldn't have hit because Allen didn't.
And I choked my leg too. They scored like 114 or 117.
Oh, no, that's right. No, Allen did get 8 rebounds, and LeVert was over.
I choked that.
That's okay. Trust me, I've choked quite a few of our parlays as we go on. You're right. They hit 116. I feel like a dumbass. I took the under last night because I was like, oh, Donovan Mitchell's out. They score 140 or 240 combined. But, yeah, I mean, the Cavs outscoring teams? Wow. Again, without Donovan Mitchell. Now, the positive is I hope that Donovan is back. You're dealing with it. I'm dealing with it. Everybody's dealing with it. There's illness going around. It's what happens. So the nice thing is you assume that Donovan is going to come back and be that. But games like that, again, I'm going to keep harping on Karis LeVert because I think he's going to be massive for this stretch here. I'm going to keep looking at Strus. I'm going to keep looking at Niang. And then, yeah, you mix in some of the other guys. If Sam Merrill can become the next Lynn Sanity. Merrill Sanity is maybe we're staring down the barrel.
He needs the longevity over Lynn.
Do you remember the Jeremy Lin thing? Dude, I can't
not?
tell you how crazy that was. Because that Knicks team was trash, and then Jeremy Lin comes out of nowhere.
He waved off Kobe and shot a game-winning 3. Like, how could you not, be like, all right.
Yeah.
Like, you can
so maybe this is our version of Lynn Sanity there with Sam Merrill showing up and playing well for the Cavs. Nice win. And again, you got to take advantage of these. They don't count as half of a win. You just keep this flowing. Just keep this going for the Cavs. So that was a lot of fun.
I just kind of thought of something. We were talking about insanity. That's kind of weak.
A little stretch.
We'll think on it.
But no idea is a bad idea. Yeah. We're gonna brainstorm this morning. We'll ask the fans out there if you've got one. We got to create something here on the show. We'll get our T-shirt made. We'll get it over to Cody, and we'll rock it out with Sam Merrill here. Speaking of rocking it out, I know Sonny Gups is going to be rocking a nice bottle of whiskey soon. Sonny, we welcome him in. We appreciate the time shift this week for you on a holiday season. First off, very happy holidays to you and yours. I will tell you, Sonny, that the whiskey is in the mail. It has been ordered. It's on its way. I don't want to tell you what it is. I'd like you to be surprised and just have a nice, healthy pour, the first one that you get, and savor in your Michigan victory over Ohio State. Sonny, congratulations on the whiskey. Well done. Well done.
Matt, thank you. Thanks for having me on the show. Thanks for sending the whiskey. Sorry, it's been a couple of weeks. I've been traveling.
Oh, good. Busy times.
See you again.
All right, we got a lot of games to get to with Sonny. He's got to get off somewhere, so let's get right started here. Sonny, let's take a look at this Browns-Houston game where I know all week it's kind of been this up and down. It's nothing new for the Browns dealing with not knowing who the quarterback is going to be. It's kind of on the other side now with Houston. It seems to be Case Keenum. It's flipped. It's now the Browns the favorite. Give me your thoughts on this game and your favorite play for Browns-Houston this Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, this is an important game for the playoffs. Like you said, it looks like, Stroud's going to miss another week. His status is doubtful. These are two teams that are outperforming expectations the whole year, even with the quarterback issues. We know that Flacco is going to be under center for the Browns. Obviously, very interesting storyline there. But right now, the public loves the under. The over-under is at 40 points. And I love it too. I really think both teams are going to struggle to score here. Obviously, Browns having a good defense, I think that makes it tough for the Texans. I'm looking at a defensive battle here, and I like the under at under 40.
Yeah, and I mean, I look at Will Anderson because that's going to be a big thing, but the Browns are offensive line really struggling right now. Even in some of their best games, it can be a struggle to put up the points. The run game is not exactly where they hope it to be as well, so I see it. And just more of a conversation before we get to our other games here, Sonny, on the Defensive Player of the Year, because we've talked a lot about it this year with Myles Garrett. He's getting held, but his odds are still really good, and he's still one of the favorites out there. And just kind of maybe a general question on how you guys at Tipico, how you approach the MVP, the Coach of the Year, all these kind of major awards, because they can flip so quick on a week-to-week basis. Myles is right back up there. Just your thoughts on some of the end-of-season awards. Seems like some of them are locked up. We know C.J. Stroud's going to be Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Right.
We know Tyreek Hill's probably going to be Offensive Player of the Year. I think the big ones, people kind of wondering about the MVP with Brock Purdy. He seems to be in line for that right now. Christian McCaffrey is right there. And then, of course, we're interested on Garrett. Just your thoughts in general. I mean to spring that on you, but just in general, your thoughts on some of the MVP award or the NFL awards there.
Yeah, I actually had a note in there for the MVP to talk about a little bit later, but we can go ahead and talk about kind of all these right now. So I think these are interesting, and I'm looking to the side because I have my odds up over here. So like you said, Rookie of the Year is locked in, right? CJ Stroud is minus 20,000. Everybody's kind of already given him the award, which it's well deserved. I think
you just boost a parlay with that, Sonny. You just go ahead and throw that in something else you want to do, and then go ahead and just boost your parlay a little bit there.
Exactly, yeah. Sprinkle a little extra on there. But with Defensive Player of the Year, it's really a three-man race right now. Michael Parsons, Myles Garrett, and T.J. Watt. Parsons is the favorite at minus 110. But like you said, it's really narrative-driven. I think the way they close the year, obviously with whether or not the Browns make the playoffs, whether or not the Steelers make the playoffs, I think that'll be a factor. Cowboys look like they will make the playoffs. So I think it's the last kind of few games here to kind of figure that one out. And I really think that will be, how they decide the award. I think it's very close. Even though the odds say that Michael Parsons is a favorite, I think it will be kind of how they close out the season. I think the MVP race is the most interesting right now, and I think it gets decided this weekend. So sorry to jump ahead here, but I know we're going to talk about the Ravens-Niners. I think the winner of that game, as long as it's driven by the quarterback, I think that they win the MVP right now. Brock Purdy's minus 200 and Lamar is plus 460. They are the top two right now. I think that game is really going to tell us a lot about who the MVP is going to be. And then I think the other really interesting call out here, and you talked about it as well. You said Tyreek Hill you thought was going to be the Offensive Player of the Year. He's at plus 110 right now. Right now, actually, McCaffrey is the favorite at minus 175.
I kind of see that. Yeah, right.
I know that the MVP usually is a quarterback award. I think what they end up doing here is they give the MVP to the quarterback, and they'll give the Comeback Player of the Year to McCaffrey. I think you have to give it to McCaffrey. He's had so much production this year. And if his teammate wins MVP, you got to give him something at least because he has been a big driver there. So, again, I think this one comes down to the end of the season, but I would actually ride with McCaffrey as well, and he is the favorite at minus 175.
I love it. Sonny, let's get to some of the games here. We start with the big one in the AFC North just because I wanted to get your thoughts on this game because all of Browns Nation is going to be watching. The Bengals and the Steelers, it's 4:30 on Saturday. Bengals are a road favorite here, -2. For some reason, I like the Steelers in this game. I keep trying to downplay what Jake Browning is doing. Jamar Chase is injured. But, man, Sonny, it's Pittsburgh they are a mental tornado right now. They got this picking stuff. They can't run the ball. They got Trubisky back in there. What do you like, Bengals-Steelers, 2-point game there?
I'm still getting used to these Saturday games. It's a Saturday afternoon game. Obviously, we get treated with, the great quarterbacks, Jake Browning and Mason Rudolph, right? Just to sprinkle in some more chaos. It's
going to be a lot of fun, Sonny. And then the late game is only on Peacock, so everybody's going to sit down and watch Josh Allen taking on Easton Stick. Boy, the NFL really scheduled these out well.
Right. And you know what? It's all these backups, and I'm still going to watch. The NFL still has me. They have my attention, whatever day they decide to throw it on, whatever channel they decide to throw it on. But for this one, it's one of the lowest over-unders of the weekend, but it's not the lowest at 37 points, which is shocking because in most weeks it would be. Right now the public loves the Bengals -2. I think Jake Browning has looked good enough he's proven himself enough over the last few weeks to say that I think he's worth backing right now. But I'm going to stay away actually from any of those core markets. What I love right now is Joe Mixon at plus 100 for anytime touchdown score.
Like that. Yeah.
14 in his last 3 games. I think they're going to keep feeding him the ball. So I'm staying away from the core markets. I don't want to have to stress, a 17-14 game going into the fourth quarter, figure out if my over is going to hit or not. Like I just want to bet on Joe Mixon to score. I think he's going to score early. So yeah, that's what I'm riding with this week.
A lot of interesting games from the standpoint, Sonny, that they're close to a point, but as we ran through the games, there really aren't a lot of marquee matchups. So I pulled the Jags-Bucks because I wanted to get your thoughts on this game where Baker's riding high. We'd love it in Cleveland if Jacksonville can get knocked down another peg or two. It seems like they're in line for the AFC South. This line has moved so much with Trevor Lawrence being questionable. Tampa is still a 1 point. I got it at 1, I think, on Tipico for Tampa Bay being the home favorite there and really a pick'em game. Jacksonville, Tampa, thoughts?
Yeah, it looks like the Jags are preparing to play without Trevor Lawrence. That's what I'm reading from the line as well right now. So it sits, like you said, at Bucks -1. I think it actually ends up moving another 1 to 1.5 points.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah. The Bucks, once they officially rule out Trevor Lawrence, that still hasn't happened yet. So if Lawrence can't go here, I really, really like the under 42.5. I don't think CJ Beathard is going to help the Jags contribute meaningfully to that total. So that's what I'm going to roll with this week. Right now, I think what's interesting is the public is really heavy on the Bucks. So 80% of the money is on the Bucks this week.
I'm a little believer in the Bucks there. All right, two best games we got, 425 there on Christmas Eve. Dallas traveling to take on Miami, 2 10-4 teams here. Miami a 1.5 point favorite. Sonny, it's like you watch Dallas get smoked. There's games where Miami doesn't look all that good. There are really only a couple of teams that I feel super uber confident every single week. And I got to tell you, I don't think it's Dallas or Miami. They can just be off some games, but I think this could be a high scoring. It's all the way up to 50, 1.5 on the side of Miami. You like the Dolphins, you like the Cowboys.
Yeah, like you said, like it's tough to feel confident about the Cowboys or the Dolphins, but would it shock you if either of these teams made the Super Bowl? It wouldn't shock me, right? They've shown it. Like they've had games where they look like the best team in the league. So this is really like the prove it bowl, right? Like this is one of those like let me show you guys that I'm not a fraud kind of games right here. So this has the highest total of the week right now. It's set at 50. I looked up the forecast. It's 75 degrees. It's going to be 75 degrees in Miami. There's no rain on the forecast. So, the public loves the over. 65% of the money's on the over at over 50. I think that's a fun one to root for. And then I personally am going to be on the Dolphins right now. Dolphins -1.5. I think McDaniel treats this like a must win. I think he pulls all of the trick plays in his bag out for this one. So I really like the Dolphins here -1.5.
All right, final one. We already talked a little bit about it. San Francisco, Baltimore, Monday Night Football on Christmas Day. Can't really beat that. 5-point spread for San Francisco. Baltimore comes out this week, and they're all, oh, how dare we be underdogs, and they'll play that. Really, Sonny, a couple things for me. Baltimore on the trip, because that's not an easy trip to make, number one. And number two, San Francisco, they just seem like a team that every week is focused. Even weeks like last week against Arizona, where I go, oh, man, they might not cover here. They just put the hammer down and they throttle it. They seem to be a team that is just, I think that loss in the NFC Championship game with Purdy going down, they seem like the most motivated team of anybody in the NFL. I think to your point earlier, they're motivated to get McCaffrey or Purdy that MVP, but I also think they're out to prove a lot of things to a lot of people, and this is a big game for them. And then, granted, my Browns bias enters this. Baltimore is another one of those teams that I scratch my head a lot, and I go, are they really who we think they are? And there's times that they mess around with teams, and yeah, they took care of Jacksonville last week. I'd be leaning San Francisco here. That 5 is a little rich for me, but I'll grab it if I can. Your thoughts, Baltimore, San Francisco, marquee game Monday night.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit on it. I think these are the two best teams in the league, with San Francisco being a distant number 1 and then Baltimore kind of being there at number 2. But yeah, I agree. This is the best matchup of the weekend. I touched on it a little bit. I think that the winner of this game will get the MVP. Right now, the Niners, when they're locked in, they're dominating everybody. They had those midseason struggles, and that's because they weren't fully healthy. But at full health, they're the best team in the league. I really think that there's an interesting storyline here with Purdy getting MVP and McCaffrey getting Offensive Player of the Year. So I think that San Francisco is going to really try to pile on, make sure both of those stats look great. So I love the Niners -5. Public is on Niners -5 at 60%. But I think my lock of this week is actually going to be an SGP. I think Purdy over 250 yards and 2 passing touchdowns. Very, very doable. That's at +165 right now on Tipico. So I'm grabbing that. I love that bet. I think Purdy really tries to show that he deserves the MVP this week.
Great stuff, Sonny. Appreciate you coming back on with us. I know time shift and everything. Enjoy the whiskey when it gets there, and we'll talk to you soon. All right, man?
Yeah, happy holidays. Have a good one.
Same to you, man. There you go. Sonny Gupta, sportsbook manager there at Tipico. Download the Tipico app. Use that code BigPlay100, and you can so what you do, download it, use the code, and then deposit and bet $25 on whatever you want. You get $100 in bonus bets. You can follow Sonny's picks all along. We'll get to our picks coming up. We got it all for you right here on Tipico, official sportsbook partner of us right here on Big Play. Love them. They're the absolute best. Boosts are awesome. Rocking there with Tipico with that code BigPlay100. Yeah, I mean, I agree with Sonny. I think there's a few teams out there that you circle and you say, okay, you know what you're going to get each and every week, but that's one that I didn't think really about the impact on that MVP race. You know what I mean?
I didn't
Like,
either.
I didn't either.
And you saw my face when he said that. I was like, oh, wow, that is a really interesting narrative.
Yeah.
And I mean, it makes sense because we know all these awards nowadays are so narrative driven. And like Josh spoke yesterday on our show about how it's getting, for a lack of better words, political. You need people to campaign for you. But that is really true in the sense that those are the top 2 real candidates, because you know at the end of the day it's going to be a quarterback, even though as bad as we want it to see to go somebody like Tyreek Hill or Christian McCaffrey. But I got to imagine, Matt, then if the Niners, I think, are going to win, like clearly the majority does when you look at the money on Tipico, that Brock Purdy realistically is going to be our MVP this year.
Well, and especially like Lamar seems to be out of this race. You know what I mean? Like he's never really brought up, and a big game could really launch him back into that conversation too. And then the same thing down in that Miami-Dallas game. If Dak wants to win the MVP, he better go down there and have a big game on a marquee type of game there. And yeah, when you're at that point, you know, Monday night, you are the only game in town. But for that 4 o'clock slate, you know, we know everybody's going to be watching the Dallas-Miami game. They kick off at 4:25. They are the marquee game for the 4 o'clock. So everybody's going to have their eye on that one. And it'll almost be like the only game in town. So we got the full slate. We got Saturday games, of course. We got tonight we got to get to with Thursday Night Football. So we got a lot of our good picks with Sonny. We're going to run through our full slate. Let's do this. Let's catch our break. Tell everybody about Tipico. When we come back, we're going to run through the Friday report card. Take a look at those Houston Texans. Noah Weiskopf of the OBR is going to join us at 10. We'll get his thoughts on Joel Bitonio. We'll get his thoughts on the Houston Texans. We'll get to our picks. We'll get to timeout. We get it all for you right here on Big Play. Thursday, I think it's just us and Chico today, right?
Yep.
All right, that's it. But tomorrow, I think Big Play, Big Bets are still going to record tomorrow.
Booby.
You had Booby tomorrow as well. I'm sure he and Roth are going to be all excited to talk a little Sam Merrill on their show tomorrow. Ted Ginn Jr. show tomorrow. It's funny. I saw Ted yesterday, not in person. You want to know why? Because we didn't even really talk Ohio State recruiting yesterday. I don't get into that world, man. I just think it's so weird to watch Ryan Day, like, literally his knees got weak when that wide receiver flipped.
Yeah, wait, so I'm going to need, and we'll take our break, we'll talk about it, but I'm going to need you to explain that Jeremiah Smith thing to me, because I was seeing
he was going to go
I
to
was
Oregon.
seeing it all over Twitter.
He was going to Oregon.
And I just don't understand what happened.
And then he came and he flipped. And that's why yesterday, like, there are guys.
So he flipped to Ohio State.
He's flipped to Ohio State.
Oh, wow. Is he the number 1 receiver in the country?
Yeah, I think so.
I know he's 5-star, obviously.
I think he's really good. I think he's actually the number 1 overall prospect.
Wow.
I believe that. I know he's a 5-star wide receiver. But, all right, let's talk Ohio State for just a second. To see that yesterday, like a grown man,
Yeah, wait, so what happened with that? He actually got weak in his knees?
I think he was doing it for dramatic effect, but it's kind of the craziness of college football that grown men are waiting on the decisions of 18-year-old kids. You know what I mean? But that's the world. His entire life, his entire job is surrounding of recruiting. Yeah, you got to go win games. I know that, but you're not doing it without all these recruits. And there are some guys that are stone cold locks, guys that even though you know that they're going to go to the school, but then you get these on National Signing Day where they flip and they go somewhere else. And I will defer to people that cover that. And I know that's a really hard beat to be on. I know it's a really hard thing to do. But Ohio State came out with the second best recruiting class. The reason I brought Ted Ginn up was Jeremiah Smith signing with Ohio State. He's like one of the best prospects that they've ever gotten. Do you know the number 1 rated prospect that Ohio State has ever got since these recruiting services have come out? the only perfect prospect that they ever got.
So is this is like post 2006, right?
Yeah, it's been since maybe even a little before that, but it's not been like, it wasn't Archie Griffin, okay? It was
Quinn Ewers?
It was Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I remember seeing that graphic. Like I think the top three ever were Vince Young, Trevor Lawrence, Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, so he was number 1. Then, do you know what number 2 was? The number 2 highest rated prospect in Ohio State history, recruit.
Give me the position.
Quarterback.
Oh. Justin Fields?
No, good guess, though. He didn't count because he transferred from Georgia.
Oh, okay. That
talking
makes
about
sense.
coming out of high school, like actually like recruited. It's a little bit, might be a little before your time, which makes me feel old as hell.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit.
Then I might not know it.
He was the quarterback of like my era of Ohio State football.
Oh, then I don't think I know.
Terrell Pryor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Terrell Pryor.
Okay.
So like Pryor was up there, like Jack Sawyer, but Ted Ginn Jr. Ted Ginn Jr. for a long time was the highest rated recruit in Ohio State history coming out of Glenville. So I saw that and I was like, oh, Ted. So obviously I get Ted's show. We had Josh Cribbs on yesterday, which was great. Folks, get it everywhere you need it. Big Play. Follow us on Twitter. You can just follow the YouTube channel. It's all there. Everything that you need. So we got it rocking and rolling for you. Let's catch our break. We'll get to our Friday report card. Got it all locked in on a Thursday pseudo football Friday edition of Matt Fontana show right here on Big Play. On a day where a lot of people are off school and work, we're going to take you to school here on the Friday, Thursday report card. Whatever you want to call it, welcome back. Matt Fontana show right here on Big Play.
You good, Matt?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just like getting over that crap. So now I'm at the point where I'm not like sick anymore, but I'm just hawking up all the crap that I've been dealing with for 3 days.
Yeah, I feel it.
So I appreciate everybody going along on this journey with us. Hang on.
It is that time of year for the suds. This is usually the time of year when I get the suds.
Yeah, well, and then, you show up at Christmas 7:30 in the morning. You guys pouring bourbon over there? I'll take a hot toddy.
Yeah.
There we go. All right, let's do it. Friday report card as we always do. On a Friday, but now it's Thursday. We're going to take a look at the Houston Texans and compare them on up to the Cleveland Browns. So you've got the quarterbacks up there, Ryan, but rightly so. That is one Case Keenum. That is not CJ Stroud. Let's talk Stroud for just a second, man, because Kevin Stefanski spoke about him a little bit, and the stats are incredible. He is really good. But he mentioned it about, like, his poise and the throws, and it seems like, and this is a word that gets thrown around a lot with young guys, of the maturity. You know what I mean? Like, CJ Stroud came into this season where it's easy for rookie quarterbacks to get caught up in it. You got a rookie head coach, and he is playing so well. And trust me, I say this truthfully. I don't want to see him hurt. I don't. He's good for the game. I enjoy watching him play. I still want the Browns to win on Sunday. They have an easier path because he's out. He is your offensive rookie of the year. And frankly, Ryan, he might be somebody you're going to have to deal with for quite some time, right? That's another thing we discussed so much about this team, about the AFC and all these quarterbacks. CJ Stroud really seems to be a guy that you're going to have to worry about for quite some time here. He really does it all. I mean, I hate to get back on this soapbox and all this crap, but I truthfully do not understand what the hell the Panthers were doing. I don't. And that's, you see what Bryce Young is. You now see what CJ Stroud is. I guess 5 years down the road, you might have a different story on that, but Stroud's it, man. Stroud is it, but he's not playing this weekend.
Yeah, it sucks to see Stroud get hurt like that. I mean, on pace to break pretty much almost every rookie record for a quarterback. Now, I believe he was on pace for like 40, whatever it was, 300 yards or whatever. But now he's going to finish a little bit below that. So I believe the record is Andrew Luck, if I'm not mistaken. But it does suck because he's had one of the best rookie years we've seen in a decade. It's been amazing, and it does suck. But not unfortunate for us, it does give us a nice edge that we like to have.
He did have them up to the point of number 5 in the league in passing yardage. And as a team, they're still there. And as we know, that is a big piece of what they do there. In Houston. You flip it over for Case Keenum. I mean, the thing is for Case, we've seen him here, so they have a good book on kind of who he is and what you expect out of him. Can he make plays to beat you? Sure. Did they beat the Texans or the Titans last week? Sure. Ryan, I think you get a couple hands in his face. You get after him, which we'll talk about this with the offensive line coming up. Houston is... They don't protect the quarterbacks all that much. Laramie Tunsil is injured. You can get some pressure on him. We'll get to the running backs in a second. I think you make this a one-dimensional type of game. You make this a Case Keenum is going to beat us. They might have to do this. Nico Collins should return for this game, which will help them out just a little bit. But still, I really think you turn this game into make Case Keenum beat you, and you live with everything else. But the thing is, he can do that. I keep wanting to give the respect, and I'm trying to. Bro, I think you put up 21 points in this game, you're going to be all right. I really think with our defense, this is one of the other parts of this game that I'm looking for this weekend coming up. We have got to take this defense on the road.
Yes.
You talk about the Browns as a team on the difference between home and away. Do you want to know why? It's because of the defense. This defense, for some reason, is just not the same on the road. Do you want to know the one thing that I look at, though? You're in a dome. You don't got to deal with the elements. Now, that helps the defense a lot more, but we should fly around and make some plays. I think getting Case Keenum's face, you make some throws really hard, we'll be all right. For Joe Flacco's side, bro, just keep doing what you're doing. I think another 3-touchdown game is potential for him. Couple of touchdowns, and you're going to live with an interception every game. That's fine. More Njoku, more Amari Cooper. I don't pull the lockout very often.
Oh, no. Here we go.
This isn't even for the game, Ryan.
Okay.
I mean, it's the game, but it's not the game prediction.
Sure.
Here. You want a lock for Sunday?
I need one.
Anytime touchdown scorer, Elijah Moore.
Wow.
Book it.
Wow.
Book that.
That's
Put
ballsy.
it down right now. Right now. I'm calling my shot.
Wow.
Sunday, anytime touchdown scorer, Elijah Moore.
Okay. I mean, I'm not going to argue it.
I'm putting it down. I don't know if it'll be a run or a pass, but Elijah Moore is getting into the end zone Sunday. Book that and grab that on Tipico right now for your bets there. So quarterback edge very clearly here to one Joseph Vincent Flacco.
Who would have thought we'd be saying that a couple months ago?
Kind of
right?
nice, but here we are. All right, we get to our position groups here, and we start with the running back group. This is on the side. Wait, who did you give that to?
We usually start with
head coach. I'm sorry. We're starting head coach. I couldn't see it over there.
No, you're good.
Head coach. Tipico Ryan's the rookie. You're going to lean Kevin Stefanski in this. I think Tipico Ryan's is a very good coach. He's in the honeymoon, and he's built himself a lot of cachet there, rightly so. And I think he's a guy that could turn around the Houston Texans. Kevin Stefanski's in the thick of the Coach of the Year conversation. He's already won one. Kevin Stefanski very clearly gets our nod here.
Yeah, I mean, similar to how we were talking about.
We got to move that thing.
Similar to how Sonny was talking about how that 49ers-Ravens game could potentially decide who gets MVP. Maybe not to that extent in this game. However, I think if Tipico Ryans can pull off this win, knock on wood, I sure hope not, that he really will be the Coach of the Year. I think that'll launch him over Dan Campbell, especially given that C.J. Stroud's out. However, on the flip side, I mean, if Kevin Stefanski wins this game and then maybe wins out the next two, which is very doable, 12 wins with what the Browns have suffered, you could... me and Matt have been talking about it. Then, in flip side, Kevin Stefanski should be Coach of the Year. So this game has some cachet, if you will.
That it does. All right, we get to our receiving core. A slight nod to the Browns.
Yeah.
But I think there's a chance that this is closer than we think. So we know Tank Dell is out, and that was a blow. That was a pretty big blow. The thing is that you're probably going to get Nico Collins back for this game. He's been battling a calf injury. He's been limited in practice, and he'll be back. Already 1,000 yards on the year, a 17-point average on per reception, and he's got 6 touchdowns. I mean, the thing is that I look at 20-plus yard receiving plays. He already has 20 on the year. His yak yards are great, over 400, and he's the 7th highest rated wide receiver on PFF with an 87 receiving grade. Collins, like you're going to see with some of these other guys, and an issue that we need to keep our eye on, they're big, man. Nico Collins is 6'4". Noah Brown, 6'2". Robert Woods, who's not the same guy anymore, also big-bodied. We'll talk Dalton Schultz here in a minute too. You're gonna have your hands full with some big receivers in this game that create some space there. You add in Dalton Schultz, who's the number 9 ranked tight end on PFF this year. I'm fine with going with the Browns, but they got a solid receiving core. They have a really solid receiving. If Tank Dell was in there, this would be the Houston Texans, in my opinion, Ryan.
Yeah, maybe. I would say if Tank Dell was in there, it's possible. But you're way higher on the Texans receivers than I am. I mean, Dalton Schultz is a good tight end by all means, well-rounded for sure. However, given David Njoku's recent play, I'm giving him the edge there. And then kind of how we've gone through this Friday report card, it's the same thing, it seems like, for every game almost. Amari Cooper is definitely the best receiver on that field. Nico Collins is having a great year, but then outside of him, I mean, Noah Brown is a vertical threat, sure. But if Denzel Ward plays, I trust our secondary, even though we have been lacking on the road. And then I'm not really scared of however old Robert Woods is really there. So I did give the nod there to the Cleveland Browns.
And then we go to running back. I think, again, deservingly so, because Devin Singletary's just kind of feast or famine. Yes, he went over 121 yards last week. But here's the crazy thing. He only has 3 rushing touchdowns all season long.
Yeah.
And, again, back-to-back games, Cincinnati, he ripped off 150, came back with 112 against Arizona, and 121 last week. That's only 3 100-yard games, and the thing is he's only rushing for a 4.3 average. Does not get in the end zone, can put up some yards. That's another reason why I think you just go all in, knowing that our rushing defense is pretty solid still. You know, you look at some of the things that Houston does on their rushing defense. They actually have the 8th best rushing defense in the NFL. The Browns have slipped down to 10th. So you have 2 good rushing teams here. That's why I say you limit what the receivers can do. You try to turn this into a running game, and I would still take Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt over Devin Singletary. Just from a stat standpoint, just from, I think, a player standpoint, I think that's rightly so going on the side of the Browns.
Yeah, I really like what I've been seeing from Kareem Hunt these past couple weeks. I know, Matt, you especially, you always say you want more Kareem Hunt carries.
I do.
And I agree. I think he's been really solid for the Browns. I mean, he's one of those special guys in the NFL that you just no matter what, he finds a way to fall forward. And I know that sounds kind of funny, but that really is an underrated thing. These backs that just find a way to get vertical and get yards, make something out of nothing. And Kareem Hunt is one of those special talents, and he's been putting it on these last couple weeks.
He certainly has, so we'll see. Then we finally get to the offensive line. Edge to the Browns again, because outside of Laramie Tunsil,
which is insane,
they're
to think about.
so bad. They are so bad on that offensive line.
How could our offensive line get a nod, but they do? Like, it's just mind-blowing.
They're really bad. They're injured as well. And the same thing, Tunsil has not practiced. He's their best tackle at the left side. As far as sacks go, here's the unfortunate thing, is that Houston has given up the 5th most sacks this year at 40. The Browns are right there with them, unfortunately. But we have a lot of backups in there. Shaq Mason is their second best guard, or second best offensive lineman at that right guard. They bring him over from the Patriots. But really, Charlie Heck is their right tackle. You should be able to get after him. They got a backup guy in Juice Scruggs at left guard. And then their center, Michael Dieter, he's one of the worst centers in football. He just is. I'm sorry. He's got a pass block grade of 53. Are you trying to drown out the Michael Dieter hate here?
Yeah.
Are you going to hit the shot thing?
I was going to hit the shot, but then
I'm sorry. He's just not very good. Browns defensive line should be able to get after this. Miles probably needs a little bit of a big game here maybe for that DPOY race right there. You have a clear advantage on the defensive line against their offensive line, and you have Case Keenum in there who's not quite a fleet of foot anymore. Browns defensive line should be able to feast in this game.
Yeah, I mean, Matt, there's nothing more for me to really say than what you just said. I'm excited for this game. Super, super excited, actually, because, again, it's really one of our last tests. Actually, yeah, well, we'll go to Cincinnati on the road as well, but we know that potentially we hope that game won't really have any matter in our race to the playoffs. But this is a real last chance to see our defense go travel and be dominant like they did at home, which we know is going to be the case if we're going to do anything in the playoffs. And
it is. All right, we head over to the defense. Also the nod to the Cleveland Browns in this one. The one thing, though, that I'm going to see if I can just pull this back up quick. Sorry, I have so many stats. I have so many windows open. Basically, the thing is, they're really good at not turning the football over and taking it away. They have one of the best turnover differentials in the NFL, talking about Houston. And it's more because they don't give the ball away. Yeah. They only have 12 giveaways all year, 6 interceptions and 6 fumbles. I'm sorry, giving up on that. So the turnovers, I finally got it back up here. So they are +8 with 20 takeaways. Now, the thing is, 20 takeaways, that's like middle of the pack here.
Yeah.
They have 12 interceptions and 8 fumble recoveries, so they don't really get after it. As far as getting after the quarterback for a sack total, again, middle of the pack. They have 38 sacks. That's 17th in the NFL. And I mentioned the Browns are kind of in the same boat. They've given up a lot of sacks just as Houston has. So players to watch on their secondary. Their 2 best defensive players are their 2 corners. Derek Stingley Jr., former draft pick, and Steven Nelson, their other corner. One to watch here is Jimmy Ward, who I would say is probably a top 5 defender on this team at the safety. He did not practice with a concussion. So that's something that we're going to keep our eye on. Steven Nelson was full with a hand, so these guys should play. But if you don't have Jimmy Ward in there, that changes things. As far as those sack totals, you really got to watch Jonathan Greenard, their edge rusher, coming off the offense's left side. So it's going to be a big game for Jaron Christian to go up against him. Other than that, linebackers are not really that great. Your 2 corners are their 2 best players there for Houston. And again, be watching to see if Jimmy Ward plays in this game or not. That'd be a boost if he couldn't. And you know the big one, Will Anderson. If you assume that Will Anderson is not going to play in this game as he's been battling through his ankle injury, that would be a pretty big boost. If he's out, it's going to be the edge. I mean, the Browns defense, I'm going to take against almost anybody. And certainly this Houston defense, even when they have Will Anderson, is not somebody that would compare to the Browns. It would help if he's in there. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, maybe he's like get some snap. He's got a high ankle sprain. Those can be really hard to come back from. I'm going to lean that Will Anderson doesn't play in this game. And then the other one to watch is Blake Cashman. He's got a hamstring injury. He would be their best linebacker if he plays in this game. But again, we assume that he's not going to. So they're battling injuries on that defensive side. Not quite as much as the Browns are on offense, but we certainly give the edge to the Browns defense against that Houston team.
Yeah, and especially given that what we've seen from Joe Flacco these last couple weeks, being able to sling the rock, I really expect that to be the case in this game as well. I'm excited to see Joe Flacco in a dome. Maybe he'll go for 400 yards this game. Who knows? But like you said, Will Anderson Jr. is the one you want to watch out for. And then Derek Stingley Jr., young corners, really come alive. I was shocked that he got taken over Sauce Gardner in that one draft. I think they kind of regret that now. But, I mean, don't know. Derek Stingley is a great player in his own right. But I'm still confident in the Browns. And like you said, there's not many teams, if any, that we're going to give the nod for the defense.
The one thing that I'm going to look at here for Houston is I just look at it and I say, I think that Tank Dell injury changed so much for that offense. And they've had a couple of games now to figure out other ways for production. And the fact that they won that game last week with Noah Brown as their number one receiver is pretty impressive, rightly so. And again, I'm putting a lot on Nico Collins. I think he's very good. We got to watch out for him. I get it. But I still just believe that they haven't really quite found who they are. And if they're going to turn and give it to Devin Singletary and they're going to try to make this a run game. We talked with Sonny earlier. He loves the under for this game. And I think I have a lot of arrows pointing that way myself.
What do you know what it is right now?
I think it's 40.
Wow.
40. So it's low. It's not the lowest. Is it 40? I think it's 40. Hang on, real quick. Yeah, 40 and a half. Yeah. So I think, like, let me ask you this. Houston's recipe for success, I think, is to run the football. It's to put Case Keenum in the best spots possible and run the ball. The one thing, if you could force that turnover, like as I was getting ready and I just kept circling Houston, they just didn't turn the ball over. They don't give that football away. That's a changer. But that was with Stroud a lot of this season. That's what I'm saying. That's one of the most impressive things about him is he was not as a rookie quarterback giving that football away. I think you force one in this game, you're really going to help out your cause on this. But Houston, you give them your full attention because frankly they deserve it. But again, with Case Keenum being in there, you get some hands on him, you kind of fight it through, you'll be all right. The other thing that I think is interesting when you look at Houston and who they beat. So I think the most impressive win recently was when they beat the Broncos a couple of weeks ago. And that was a good one. But other than that, they beat the Buccaneers in a shootout. They beat the Bengals. Remember when everybody thought that was a real coming out party there? They beat up on the Cardinals. But some of the better teams they faced, the Jags they fell to, the Colts earlier in the year, the Ravens earlier in the year. I say this relative. They have not had a really hard schedule, and that's because they finished last in their division. That's how the NFL sets this kind of stuff up, where they play in what we thought was one of the weaker divisions in football in the AFC South, and then they're not playing the AFC juggernauts. Who did they have to play as the division this year? The NFC. So they played the NFC South. So they got the Falcons, the Saints, the Panthers. They lost to the Saints. They beat the Falcons. They beat the Buccaneers. Actually went 3-1 in that division, clearing it out. So there you go. So trying to poke a little hole in here. Houston has not had the hardest schedule in the world this year. And this was a game that I think when it started, everybody circled this as a win. Everybody circled this game as a win. Then there was a point where all right, this might be a real worry. Now I think we're kind of back to saying that this is a real opportunity for the Cleveland Browns. Browns are, of course, favored going down there mostly because of C.J. Stroud not being able to play in this game. But I see a lot of areas where the Browns should be able to take advantage and win this game. Do I think it's going to be a blowout? Not necessarily, but we don't make our Browns picks. I love them to cover. I really like this by a touchdown game. I really think this is a nice game for the Browns to be controlled. The other thing about running the football is going to be on the Browns side of things. So I mentioned the two best things that each of these teams do defensively is stop the run. When you're coming into this one, for rushing defense, 6th in the NFL for Houston. Browns are 10th. Houston gives up 93 yards on the ground. Passing defense, though, they are 25th in the NFL. They give up 240. Somebody's saying that's counterintuitive. Why would you not throw the football? I want to see this run game get going a little bit.
I do, too.
What I'd like to see is pass to get up and then run the ball to squeeze it out. And that's the dream, I think, of anybody else in the NFL. Total offense, we know the Browns, number one defense. They're going up against the 10th-ranked total offense, which, again, is with a lot of C.J. Stroud. Third down efficiency is an interesting one. Middle of the pack for Houston at 38%. Browns' third down defense is amazing. Number 1 in the NFL, which is tough. The red zone offense versus red zone defense, they're 20th in scoring in the red zone. We are 30th in points allowed. Takeaways, we know we haven't had a lot, and giveaways, they do a lot. They do a great job of not turning the football over. So for a lot of these statistics, Ryan, I look at it and I say it's a closer game than sometimes than you think.
Yeah, and I mean, we've been talking about that recipe, right? It'd be so nice to see Joe Flacco get going early, get a nice lead, and then in turn you can get that run game, which kind of stalled out last week. I believe we only had like 70-something rushing yards. So it'd be nice to get that going again as we're heading to this late stretch before the playoffs. But then in turn, you go up early. Then, like you said, force Case Keenum to throw, force him to beat us. And if our defense can travel on the road like they should, and we hope they can, then that's the perfect recipe for victory. And I like it by a touchdown as well, Matt.
Yeah, I think, again, where the Browns are sitting for the playoff hunt, and certainly for Houston because they feel like they need wins to get it on the way out. But if they're missing Will Anderson and they're missing C.J. Stroud, and again, watching Laramie Tunsil. These next 2 days, I think, are going to be pretty big to watch if Laramie Tunsil plays in this game as well or not. So we'll keep our eye out for that. We got Noah Weiskopf joining us. He just joined the guys over at Aubriard, so happy about that. We'll talk a lot about this with Noah. We'll get his keys to the game, and we'll get a lot of updates on the Browns injury fronts as well. So keep it locked here. Big Play, everything that you need. Sign up with our friends at Tipico using that code BIGPLAY100. We got Noah Weiskopf, and we got him next. All right, back here on the Matt Fontana Show. Big player. We're going to be joined by Noah Weiskopf coming up. Of course, OBR now for Noah. Happy for him in the new spot. And we'll talk everything Browns. I got a lot of injury questions for him. Where are we standing with Joel Bitonio? And some of the big keys as we get ready for this Houston game. A team that's got my full attention, but I still expect the Browns to go out there and be able to take care of business come Sunday against Houston. Playoff race abound, certainly for the Browns and Houston, and it gets all of that. We bring in Noah Weiskopf. First off, man, congratulations on the new spot over there at OBR, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Tell everybody where they can follow you. You're still at Browns with Noah, right?
Browns with Noah, Instagram, and now X. And then all my work now at the OBR as well.
Awesome. Great. Appreciate it. Noah, let's start with the injuries. I was worried this week about Joel Bitonio. Really, that's kind of where my attention was going. Stefanski didn't give the update yesterday. He just said it kind of depends every day when he comes in on how he feels. Where are you at, and how are you approaching the Joel Bitonio injury for this Sunday?
Yeah, I think he's going to go. We'll see how he goes later through practice later in the week, but I think that he'll give it a go. Last Sunday before the game in warmups, he was out there, did something to his back, sounded like back spasms. Thought that he would be able to go ahead and play through it. Obviously, you saw him on a knee there in the first quarter. He couldn't. So they took him out. They never ruled him out, which I thought was interesting. He was questionable to return and then just kind of was standing there on the sideline. So that makes you sort of think that there's nothing too crazy outside of the back spasm. So I think they'll be careful with him this week in practice, but ultimately I think he'll be able to play Sunday. And I know the Browns are hopeful for that.
What about Posick? I've not heard anything. I know it's a stinger. It'd be nice to get him back. No, I mean, that offensive line, give them credit, give Bill Callahan credit, man, but I'd love to see Ethan Posick get back for this game.
Yeah, I think you can expect him back as well. I think him and Bitonio are going to be two guys that are going to be able to get back there on Sunday. But, the stinger, a very weird type of injury. He was limited in their estimated practice report, which I think is very good news for him and his availability. So as long as he doesn't regress at all, doesn't miss a practice for the rest of the week, I think he'll be out there on Sunday as well.
Now, Houston dealing with it on their own right. No C.J. Stroud. I assume, no, we all just assume he's not going to play in this game. So you turn over to Case Keenum. But then the same thing, Laramie Tunsil, Will Anderson on the injury report there for the Texans. And I don't know, they're spicy enough that we need to keep full attention on them, but they're battling some serious injuries on that side for the Texans as well.
They are. I think Will Anderson obviously is the biggest one here. Their pass rush is really, really good. And I think that's going to be the difference in this game. If Will Anderson's able to go against the Browns' third, fourth string tackles, I think that you're going to have some issues, kind of like what you did with Montez Sweat last week with Chicago. Will Anderson has the ability to disrupt the game. And I know their other guy, Greenard, I think is how you pronounce it. He's good too. I know I've seen J.J. Watt talk all about him on the Pat McAfee show and how tenacious he is as a pass rusher. But I think the difference here is their run stopping is not up to par. And I think that's going to be the biggest thing here is whether the Browns are going to be able to establish their run game, which they have not been able to do recently.
Noah Weiskopf joining us. Of course, follow him on Twitter, Instagram, Browns with Noah, now with the OBR. And to talk about Houston for a second, just on the offensive side of things, Noah, if it is Case Keenum, Devin Singletary's been fine. He only has the 3 touchdowns on the year. He's only got a couple of games over 100 yards. But it's Nico Collins for me, the big-bodied receiver. You have MJ Emerson, who seems to be like the big-body receiver eraser because he's the perfect guy to go up against him. I think that Tank Dell injury really threw them for a loop. And I got to say, on offense, if we can just limit, in my opinion, really, the pass game in general would be nice. But I think if you can just shut down Nico Collins, this should be a pretty big day for the Browns defense. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Nico Collins is one of those guys that sort of reminds me when the Browns go to play him as a guy like T. Higgins, like what we saw last weekend with him just being able to make those one-on-one contested catches. And the thing that really bothers me, but scares me a little bit with Denzel Ward is his height, obviously, is the one thing that you can sort of take away from him. So if you have him in that matchup, then they're going to be able to throw it up to him and give him a really good chance to bring down the ball. Again, he's hurt, so we'll see if he's able to go. He missed last week. But yeah, I think that a guy like MJ Emerson lining up against him would be perfect for the Browns and Jim Schwartz. Because the one thing you can maybe take away from Emerson is his speed he's not as fast as guys like Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome. But, matching those two up, Nico Collins is not known for his speed. So if you can get 2 taller guys just to sort of go at it all game, I think I'd give the Browns the edge on that one.
To the Browns defense, a lot of questions with Myles Garrett and getting the hold calls. And we know that he's in the thick of this defensive player of the year race. And It's been a couple of games, and people are starting the campaign to say, look beyond the stats. Like, I know Brian Baldinger did a breakdown, and people respect, as they should, what Baldy has to say. And he said, don't look at the stats. Look at his impact. Look what he does on the field. But no, it's got to be frustrating. We know it's getting frustrating for Miles. Do you think there's something that the Browns can actually do? They say things to the league. They say it to the referees. It seems to fall on deaf ears. Is there something Jim Schwartz can do schematically to try to get him away? I mean, what's your sense on this whole Myles Garrett not getting these holding calls?
I don't know if there's anything you can do, honestly. The opposing teams are putting at least 2 guys on him, whether that's 2 offensive linemen. You're sending a running back to immediately go and chip Myles Garrett. Like, it's something like that where there's not really anything you can do. But, I mean, the only thing that maybe can help is Kevin Stefanski openly talking on Monday about how it's beyond the numbers, how Myles Garrett's the best defensive player he's ever seen pretty much. And he doesn't really think it's close in terms of he should win Defensive Player of the Year, is what he said. But to me, the biggest thing with this is the Browns went out and got Zadarius Smith. He has 3.5 sacks this year, which kind of underwhelming, I guess.
I would agree, yeah.
So I'm almost waiting for that game. If Myles Garrett's being doubled and you're getting Zadarius Smith in one-on-one every single time they drop back to pass, let's see if Zadarius Smith can have a game where he gets 2 sacks, 3 sacks, and disrupt a game when he's getting that matchup every single time. I think that's what I'm looking for.
I've been waiting on Zadarius Smith for a while, man. And there are weeks that you forget he's out there. Now, with Obo being out and he's not going to be there. And the D-line at times with Harris and Tomlinson and all them, they can kind of get that push. But I agree with you. Zadarius Smith, I just wonder where we would be if Zadarius Smith was stepping up. Maybe this is a big game for him to finally get in there and get a couple of sacks. We'll see. Because really on that offensive line, we were talking about it a little too, Noah, that offensive line for Houston, they're susceptible. They are very susceptible, especially if Laramie Tunsil is banged up. So maybe this is the game that Zadarius Smith finally shows up for.
Yeah, I mean, I think as long as the defensive line can find themselves in the backfield more times than not, I don't think you're going to have too big of an issue stopping this Texans offense without C.J. Stroud and Tank Dell.
To our offense, Noah, Joe Flacco's been the toast of the town. He's setting all these records. He's doing all these amazing things for the Browns. What do you see in his game? Now that we've got a good chunk sample size, I think the accuracy, the timing, the zip on his patch, just everything seems to be there. But is there something that you watch with Joe Flacco that really stands out to you as part of the reason that he's been playing so well?
To be honest with you, it's his moxie. It's just his character. Like, he just goes out there. He does not try to do too much, which is something that I know a lot of Browns fans when Baker was here were crying for him to do, is not go out there and do too much. Make the right read, make the right decision. Don't do anything crazy. I know he threw 3 picks last week. 2 of them probably weren't on him. Maybe that's pass to Cedric Tillman when Tillman bobbled it up in the air he shouldn't have thrown. But, stuff like that. I mean, you can't be perfect when this is the situation you have with Flacco. I think that the couple of biggest things with Flacco are off the field. I think that one of the biggest reasons the Browns are doing what they're doing right now is because of how close the guys are on this team. I've not seen a team where these players are this close and the chemistry is what it is like right now. And I think that genuinely every player on that team is willing to almost take a bullet for Joe Flacco. And the fact that he just came in is really helping them on the field.
It'd help if he got a little bit of a run game. No, I've been one. I want more carries for Kareem Hunt. I'm fine with Jerome Ford. And, last week you fall behind a little bit or you just change. But I'm worried that you're not going to get away with rushing for 30 yards like you did last week as a team. You're not going to win a lot of games that way. Is there something you see? Is it the backs? Is it the line, which again had 4 backups in there, just not getting the push? What do you think it is right now with this run game?
Yeah, I think it's really the push. And when you're not being able to run the ball, to have Joe Flacco sling it 44 times like he's been doing in the past couple of games, and he's able to complete a lot of those passes, throw touchdowns and stuff like that, then you're in good shape. But I think, again, like I said, a game with the Texans, with their great pass rush, their run-stopping ability is not up to par. And if you're able to slam the run, continue to drive the ball down the field on the ground, then I think that opens up a ton of play-action passes for Flacco, which he's been great. I saw a stat yesterday, him outside of the pocket on some of those play-action plays. I think he's like second to Patrick Mahomes in some of those passing stats. So, yeah, they need to establish the run game for sure. I think that, it can lead weeks to week to week. If you're able to establish it this week, I think they can continue to rely on that. And I think a guy as well that I'm looking at is Pierre Strong. I like a lot of what I've seen from him. His getaway speed, his acceleration is really, really good. And I think that if you're able to get Jerome Ford going a little bit, mix in a little Pierre Strong there to get some of that speed, and then Kareem Hunt to get some of those tough 2 to 3 yards, I think that you're going to be able to establish a run game in Houston this weekend.
Noah Weiskopf, OBR, joining us. Follow him Twitter, Instagram, Browns with Noah. Coach of the Year race. We think Kevin Stefanski should be right in the thick of this thing, man. For everything that he's had to overcome, the challenges, the award a lot of times goes to maybe the guy on the other sidelines this Sunday with Tipico Ryans. Take a bad team, you turn them around. We know Steichen is there, some of the other names. Where do you think Kevin Stefanski's candidacy stands, Noah, when it comes to Coach of the Year?
To me, the Coach of the Year has to make the playoffs. And I think that that's sort of in the past has been a thing with the NFL. I think that if the Texans are able to make the playoffs somehow, if they're able to sneak in there with having Case Keenum looking like Case Keenum this week, it probably will be. If you're able to have them sneak into the playoffs, then I think that Tipico Ryan stands a really good chance. But other than that, to me, Kevin Stefanski and what he's been able to do and having people talk about this, even on the national stage, I think that genuinely helps. And if the Browns are able to win at least 2 of their next 3 games, if they're able to win their next 3 games and close out the season with 12 wins, I don't think there's any question. I think that he's going to be the Coach of the Year. 2 games is even a really good possibility. So we'll see. But I think now, with what's happening with Flacco and everything like that, I think that he's probably the favorite.
And that's my thing, no. I don't understand why he's not. And there's so many voters on that AP thing, and they all kind of maybe have different metrics of it. I think you're right, because I just don't see where I think Jacksonville is going to make the playoffs. So I don't think there's a way that the Colts and the Texans both make it. So that should then take out either Ryans or Steichen, which I agree with your criteria there. It's crazy to see like Kyle Shanahan doesn't even necessarily always get the respect. Or like I know Mike McDaniel seems to be falling off a little bit. But just for what Stefanski had to do to make the playoffs with everything, I just, if I had to sit down, with somebody and they needed convincing that he should be Coach of the Year, I'd be like, he had 4 different quarterbacks and he won a game with each of them. That, and by the way, will make the playoffs with that. Last team to do that was, ironically, this Houston Texans team almost a decade ago. It doesn't happen all that often. And when you add in with the O-line injuries and Nick Chubb and all this other kind of stuff, that would be my case for him. And I just don't understand why he's not there.
And the defensive injuries as well.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
As a head coach. But I think that the only other person that would be in competition with him at this point is probably Dan Campbell.
Yeah, I wouldn't even mention Gamble.
Is impressive. So.
Yeah. No, before we get you out of here, the one thing you're watching for Sunday could be a key for the game, a player stepping up. Do you want your thoughts on my bold prediction for Sunday? Can I give you my bold prediction for Sunday? Let me know if you like it or not. Touchdown score, Elijah Moore. I think he gets in the end zone Sunday. What do you think?
I like that.
Yes.
I think I like that. Or Jerome Ford, I think, could find the end zone as well, whether that's through the air or on the ground.
Now you got me thinking here, Noah. Can I do a little 2 touchdown anytime score parlay? I'm going to cook that up. Continue on, please. I'm cooking that up. You and I are going to ride with that.
Yeah.
The Matt and Noah parlay.
My keys to the game, 1 on offense, establish the run game. You know what Flacco is able to do through the air. You know he's going to make the right read for you. You know he's going to throw the ball. He's going to throw a touchdown. But look for that run game. Look and see if they're able to establish it. And then on defense, you got to get to the quarterback. You got to get in Case Keenum's face. He's not going to be moving around like a Lamar Jackson, a Justin Fields. He's going to be sitting there, and you need to get in that backfield. If Myles Garrett's being double-teamed, I need to see Zadarius Smith wreaking havoc on that defensive line, getting a couple of sacks. But the Browns need to get a good amount of sacks. They need to be in the backfield. They need to tip the ball at the line of scrimmage. So as long as they disrupt everything up front, you're going to trust your corners. You're going to trust your safeties. Ronnie Hickman looks like he's going to start to break out here soon. He looked really, really good last week. So we'll see with that.
No, really appreciate your time, man. Happy holidays to you and yours. We'll catch up to you soon. And again, man, real congrats on the new gig over there at OBR. Those are some really good guys doing some great content. Happy to have you over there, and we'll have you on again soon, all right?
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
There he goes. Browns with Noah. Follow him on Twitter and Instagram right there. You know I'm doing it.
Elijah Moore?
Hell yeah. No, Elijah Moore and Jerome Ford.
I wish you luck, my friend.
I ride that. Hang on.
Those would be some spicy odds. So what spawned the Elijah Moore epiphany? Kind of just a gut instinct.
It's just not.
Okay.
Okay.
Kind of like how he's unlocked David Njoku. Maybe he can unlock Elijah Moore this game. Okay.
So the only thing is, I don't think I can do individual touchdowns yet. I think you got to wait for the game. You know, you got to wait closer for the game. Yeah, I don't have them yet. Damn it. All right. I'll have to do that this weekend. I'll send a tweet out with it. But nonetheless, speaking of our bets, speaking of Tipico, let's get to it. Our NFL picks.
Oh, we're going around the league. Let's do it.
Week 16
Woo!
of the NFL season. Playoffs abound. Let's get to our picks with our friends at Tipico. Folks, follow us along. Ryan and I, modest season. Very modest season.
We've been cold, though, lately.
Did all right last week. We're about 500 last week. Get to Tipico, folks. Download the app. Deposit and bet $25 when you use the code BIGPLAY100. Once you place that $25 bet, you'll get that $100 in bonus bets right in your account, and you can use them to your heart's content. Whatever you want to bet. Tennis, soccer, football, college basketball. We got it all for you right there with our friends at Tipico. So last week, Ryan, 15 games on the slate. Shouldn't have been 16 games. Didn't all 32 teams play last week? Oh, we don't do the Browns game. Duh. 15 games. You're right. Last week, a nice 8-6-1 for me last week. Ryan, 6-8-1.
Damn.
So I picked up 2 games on you. Real quick last week. Both lost in Atlanta to the Panthers, of course. Both lost to Arizona covering against the 49ers. Both lost to Dallas. Both lost to Philly with the Seattle Seahawks getting an improbable win there. So nonetheless, 8-6-1 for me last week. That improves me to 92-87-8 on the year. Ryan, 98-81-8 on the year. So we're both above 500.
Wait, so how many games up am I?
You are 6 games up on me.
Okay.
You have 98 wins. I have 92.
This might come down to the wire.
This is coming down the wire. We'll see some of our picks this week. So, of course, we'll do our full slate of games, including Thursday night football tonight. The New Orleans Saints traveling to take on the LA Rams, SoFi Stadium tonight. This line opened at 4.5. It's down to 4 for the Rams. 87% of the public money is on the side of the LA Rams for this game tonight. I start with your trends. New Orleans coming in 4-10-1 against the spread their last 15 games. And how about this against the Rams? New Orleans is only 4-8 against the spread their last 12 games against the Rams, and they have not covered their last 6 games when on the road facing the Rams. You flip it over for LA, 4-1 against the spread their last 5 games, 4-1 straight up in their last 5 games. And again, just really kind of owning the Saints there when they're on the road. As far as recency for the Saints, they've won 2 straight over the Giants and Carolina. Take that for what it's worth. Rams got a nice win over Washington. Of course, we saw them a couple of weeks ago. I've got it at an even 4, Ryan. Rams, home favorite here against the Saints. Your selection, please.
Saints are poop, as you like to say, Matt. I'm giving this to the Rams here. Their offense has been pretty well cooking the last 2 weeks. What is that? What is that?
I'm taking New Orleans.
Why? This is, again, you're doing this just like you do the Chargers.
I know. I got this thing about the Saints. I know. I'm going to ride. I buck my trend. It's one of my rules when it comes to is take the under and the dog in Thursday night football, and I'm going to take the under and the dog tonight.
Don't bet money on it, man.
I got to do something to watch tonight. Over-under, by the way, 46 on that one. I'm going to take the Saints. I don't know why. It's a must-win game for them. It's really a must-win game for both teams, but we'll see. All right, we get to Saturday, 4:30, AFC North battle. Bengals making the short trip over there to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. Of course, Bengals at 8-6. Steelers are 7-7. I saw erroneous things that the Steelers are officially eliminated from the playoffs. Did you see that?
It's
That
like
can't be
it's
true.
like a meme.
Oh, it is?
Because they're trash.
Because they're so bad.
Like, I think they have to win out. They do.
Yeah, they have to win out, but there's no way that they're eliminated.
No.
Okay, so that was just a funny thing. This open is a pick'em. It's now a 2-point favorite on the side of the Cincinnati Bengals. This one's a little closer, 60-40 public money on the side of the Cincinnati Bengals. I will start with the Bengals here. 7-3 straight up in their last 10 games. They are actually 4-2 against the spread their last 6 games against the Pittsburgh Steelers. You flip it over for Pittsburgh, not good. 1-4 against the spread their last 5 games. 1-4 straight up in their last 5. Things are going really bad there for Pittsburgh. But I don't know if I can truly trust in Cincinnati. They've won 3 straight over Minnesota, Indianapolis, and Jacksonville. Pittsburgh has lost 3 straight to Indianapolis, New England, and Arizona. I don't like this at all. I really don't. And I would like to take the Steelers, but I cannot. They are mentally broken. They're in a bad way. I'm going to take Cincinnati in this one, but I just want on record I don't like it.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bengals as well. I mean, it's really impossible at this point to trust the Steelers to cover a 2-point spread on the road, even if they were home. I mean, their offense is basically invisible, right? I mean, Kenny Pickett, I've been seeing stuff on Twitter. I don't know, Matt, I don't know if Steelers fans truly are trying to believe this or they're just trying to convince themselves that Kenny Pickett can be a franchise quarterback. But hey, I'm all for it if they want to extend him and trust him, but I'm going to go with the Bengals in this one.
A blowout on par here for Peacock. They spent a lot of money to get a primetime game, and you would have thought at one point it was Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, maybe teams going for the playoffs. You get Easton Stick, and you'll enjoy it. They're 8 o'clock, SoFi Stadium on Saturday. Bills making a long trip. Dude, a 12-point spread for the road Buffalo Bills in this one. This opened as 7.5. It's up to 12. And in part, it's not the public money. Public money's 50-50 on this one, which I think is real interesting. I would give credit to the Chargers just because they fired Brandon Staley. And sometimes there's like this wave of emotion. There's like this relief that maybe they can somehow get this done. I don't know, man. 12-point spread. Here's the thing for Buffalo. They're riding hot, right? But they're only 3-7 against the spread their last 10 games. And Buffalo against the Chargers, which I know this is Easton's stick. Buffalo's only 1-4 straight up and 1-4 against the spread their last 5 games against the Chargers. And in fact, Buffalo has not covered in their last 6 games on the road against the Chargers. The problem is that Buffalo is facing Easton Stick. Chargers are 1-5 against the spread their last 6 games, 1-5 straight up in those last 6. Chargers, they're only 2-10 against the spread their last 12 games when played on a Saturday. Oh, man. Buffalo's played a lot of really close games. Dude, Chargers give up 63 points. Bills, all day. Give it to me. -12.
That's crazy, Matt, because now here I am. Roles reversed. I'm taking the Chargers. A cross-country road trip for Josh Allen and the Bills. Yes, it is a must-win for them. However, kind of like you mentioned, like we saw when Antonio Pierce took over for those Raiders, there kind of was a shockwave in that locker room. You could see they were it just seemed like they were happier, and that translated to better product on the field. I'm not saying that that's going to happen here in Los Angeles, but to cover a 12-point spread,
big number.
I'm going to trust that maybe getting Brandon Staley puts a little bit of momentum, and especially after getting their asses handed to them on national television, they'll come out with a little fire, and they'll cover that 12-point spread.
Well, Green Bay really scuffling, and they're going to head down to Bank of America Stadium to take on the Carolina Panthers. Of course, Bryce Young and crew get their second win of the season last week over the Atlanta Falcons. Packers, all of a sudden, were in a playoff spot, and now they're not. Losers of 2 straight to Tampa Bay and the Giants. 2 not great teams. We'll see if they can rebound here. This is a 5-point road spread favorite for the Green Bay Packers. It stayed pretty standard. It's open at 4.5. It's to 5. 70-30. 70% of the public money is on the favorite there. Green Bay minus that 5. I'll start with the Packers here. They're only 2-4 against the spread. 2-5 against the spread their last 7 games against Carolina, but they're 8-4 straight up in their last 12 when they take on the Panthers. Green Bay not great on the road, 1-5 straight up in their last 6 games on the road. Carolina 4-8 against the spread their last 12 games, 1-6 straight up in their last 7. 5 here. Green Bay. I got to take the Packers. I'll take Green Bay. Ryan?
Yeah, I'm taking Green Bay as well here. I mean, obviously a must-win for the Packers. Pretty lucky they're still in it, but we know how the NFC wildcard race is going right now. But the reality is, if Jordan Love doesn't look good, or God forbid he drops this game to the Panthers, it's going to be a long, long offseason for those Packers, and a lot of questions whether or not they're going to need another quarterback.
Interesting matchup here for the NFC North. The Lions, who are strangleholding that division 10-4, but the Vikings at 7-7, trying to find their way to a wild card spot. Minnesota is at home. Nick Mullins, the quarterback. Can they keep it rolling here? Detroit coming off a nice win over Denver. And then for Minnesota, a close loss there to Cincinnati. They've lost 3 out of their last 4. Starting to flounder there a little bit for the Vikings. This is a road 3-point favorite for Detroit. Can I tell you something, Ryan? I like them by even more than 3. I'm going to take Detroit in this one, but I like them up to 4.5. Let's see what we got here. Public money on this game as far as Detroit. Let me, for a second, where's Detroit? The hell, why am I missing this here? Oh, here it is. 60-40 public money is on the side of the Vikings, plus that 3 to cover, which I think is interesting there. Let's get to our trends. Detroit 14-6 against the spread their last 20 games. They've covered all 5 of their last games against Minnesota, but they're only 2-9 straight up in their last 11 against Minnesota. Detroit, real road warriors, 9-3 against the spread their last 12 games on the road. You flip it over for the Vikings. They are sneakily cover machines, 6-1-2 against the spread their last 9 games. They're 6-3 straight up in their last 9. How about this? Minnesota, 5-0 against the spread. I'm sorry, no, 5-0 straight up in their last 5 games at home against Detroit. I think that trend comes to an end. I'll ride Detroit in this one. Ryan?
Well, Matt, this game screams trap here if I ever see one on this week's slate. Like you said, I was going to say the exact same thing. I mean, the Vikings are so weird this year. They're one of those teams. We saw them beat the 49ers at home. We've seen them compete with some teams that we consider the upper echelon teams here. You do have Nick Mullins going, so it does kind of worry you. But their offense wasn't that bad against the Bengals. They did lose that game, but at home, and we know the Lions, pretenders. I don't know what they are yet, and I think they might win this, but I feel like if they do, they're going to squeak it out. So I'm going to roll with the Vikings here.
A little different picks to go. Here we go. Seattle, after a big win Monday night, taking down the Eagles. They travel to Nissan Stadium to take on the Titans, who had a heartbreaker against the Houston Texans, who we see coming up this weekend. Line opened at 1.5. It is now 2.5 on the side of Seattle as the favorite. Public money, 55% of it on the home dog, Tennessee Titans. Dive into this one. Seattle 4-1 against the spread their last 5 games, but they're only 1-4 in those last 5 games straight up. How about this against Seattle against Tennessee? Seattle 1-6 against the spread their last 7 games against Tennessee. 1-4 straight up in their last 5 games when they play at Nissan Stadium. Seattle 0-5 straight up in their last 5 games on the road. Flip it over for Tennessee though. I don't know if I can quite trust them to cover. 2-5 against the spread their last 7. They're 5-15 straight up in their last 20. Things not going all that well for Tennessee. It's not going great for Seattle either. 2.5 Seattle road favorite. Ryan, you're up.
Yeah, I'm going to go Seattle on this one. I'm assuming that line is a little bit reflected of that Devin Witherspoon and Jamal Adams are questionable. So I expect if one of them can go, the line's going to move even more in Seattle's favor. So I'm going to stick with Seattle here. I hope Drew, do you know if Geno Smith is going to start?
So it sounds like Geno Smith's going to come back, but then you don't know who's starting for Tennessee. It might be Ryan Tannehill because now Levis is hurt.
Right, and I just don't trust that Tennessee offense to really get anything going.
Derrick Henry's pissed.
Yeah, the Titans are cooked.
Dude, I mean, talk me out of it. This is my trap game. I
feel more confident in this one than I definitely do that Detroit one. I'm going to roll with the Seahawks here. Again, they're in a position they need to win if they're going to get that wild card spot. They did get some great momentum beating a good team in Philadelphia, even though they've kind of fallen off these last 3 weeks. But I just don't think there's enough juice in that Titans locker room. You give it the fact that Derrick Henry's kind of out. Yeah. Mike Vrabel might be out. So I don't know. They just have not much going for them.
I took Seattle. I rode Seattle. I'm going to ride with Seattle. That's where I'm going to go with that one. Fighting for playoff spots. The Indianapolis Colts down to a hot Atlanta to take on the Falcons. Back to Taylor Heineke we go. Gardner Minshew and crew 8-6 for the Colts, trying to stay alive there in the AFC. Down in Atlanta, this is a road. No, Atlanta's still a 1-point favorite here.
This is a gross, stinky game.
Disgusting game. But I feel really confident in this game, by the way. 67% of public money is on Atlanta, minus that 1 to be the home favorite here. Let's get to some trends, see if they can sway us here. Colts are 5-1 against the spread their last 6 games, 5-1 straight up in those games, and they beat up on Atlanta. Colts are 6-1 against the spread their last 7 games against the Falcons, and dude, 15-2 in their last 17 games against the Falcons. Now, they don't play them all that often, but it is what it is. You flip it over for Atlanta, 3-10 against the spread their last 13 games, 2-5 straight up, and the Falcons are just 1-5 against the spread their last 6 games at home. I feel like this is a lock. I know Pittman is hurt. I know this is a big hurt. They might get Jonathan Taylor back. I'm going Colts all the live long day in this one.
I really have no idea where to go in this one, Matt. However, I'm going to just base the same logic kind of that I did with the Titans. The fact that, yes, the Falcons are technically still in it because their division is pretty garbage.
They're not in it.
Right. So essentially they're not. And I mean, their GM's coming out basically saying Arthur Smith is going to be canned. He didn't say that for verbatim, but you know he is. So I guess I'm going to go with the Colts, even though I don't like it.
As a Browns fan, there would be nothing better than Atlanta to get a win here, but I just think the Colts are going to get this done. Another real, it's thank God we get the holiday because we got some bad football games. The Commanders going up to MetLife Stadium and take on the Jets. 5-9 for the Jets, 4-10 for the Commies in this one. Jets are a home 3-point favorite in this game. Public money, 50-50, split right down the middle between two really bad football teams. Washington 1-4 against the spread their last 5 games. They are 0-4-1 against the spread their last 5 games against the Jets. Washington just 1-4 straight up in their last 5 games on the road. But Washington wins at MetLife. They are 4-1 straight up in their last 5 games on the road against the Jets. Jets are poop too. 1-6 against the spread their last 7 games. 1-6 straight up in their last 7. They're 2-5 straight up in their last 7 games at home. They get the news that Aaron Rodgers is not coming back. You're out of the playoff contention. Washington's been out of it. They might go back to Jacoby Brissett. I'm going to take Washington to cover. I don't know why. They showed me a little bit last week there. They put up some of those touchdowns and they fought in that loss to the Rams. I think the Jets are packing it in. They're done. Give me Washington in that game.
Well, Matt, something's got to give in this game, right? I mean, it's the Commanders, the worst defense in the league, going against the Jets, the worst offense in the league. So really, I'm just going to base this off of I'm going to take the Jets defense to be better than the offense. The old cliche, defense wins championships. It's going to be another really gross game. I guess we'll see a little bit out of Zach Wilson. I mean, it's just 2 teams that are in an awful position right now. But give me the Jets, I suppose.
No Trevor Lawrence potentially this weekend. You might want to grab this line before it does shift. I've got it a 1-point home favorite for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield riding high down there in Florida. They welcome in Jacksonville, fellow Floridian team down there. 1-point spread on this one. It's kind of all questioning, and it's going to shift as soon as it's announced that Trevor Lawrence might not play in this game. Interesting note, though, that public money, still 60% of it is on the side of Jacksonville. We start Jacksonville 2-4 against the spread their last 6 games, 2-4 straight up in their last 6 games, but they kind of take it to Tampa Bay. Jacksonville's 2-4 straight up in their last 6 games against Tampa Bay, and Jacksonville, an impressive 9-1 against the spread their last 10 games on the road. Flip over for Tampa Bay, 6-2 against the spread their last 8 games, 4-2 straight up in their last 6. Tampa 5-1 against the spread their last 6 games as a dog. Actually, are they not the favorite in this game now? Yeah, they're the favorite in this game. I don't know, they're not the dog. This is Tampa Bay all day for me.
Yeah, Matt, I'm going with Tampa Bay as well. We heard Sonny say to grab that line because we expect it to shift more towards Tampa as if Trevor Lawrence does officially get ruled out. And honestly, I'm rooting for Baker here. I would love to see Baker in the playoffs, and especially given that if he wins that division, he's going to get home field advantage. I mean, what a story. That'd be kind of fun to see Baker make a little run in the playoffs.
Arizona Cardinals, Chicago Bears, Soldier Field, 4:25 on Sunday. Bears a home 4-point favorite, opened at 2.5, and it's all the way up to 4 now. 64% of the public money on the side of the Arizona Cardinals. So we take a look at Arizona. I thought they might have a little something to give to San Francisco last week. They didn't. They get blown out. Of course, we just saw Chicago, Hail Mary or not, ends their two-game losing streak. Chicago's riding a little bit higher right now, I think, than Arizona. Arizona may be playing for that playoffs, or the draft pick too. We'll see. Arizona coming in 3-17 straight up in their last 20 games, but they take it to Chicago 5-1 against the spread their last 6 games against the Bears, and Arizona is 4-2 straight up their last 6 games at Soldier Field. For the Bears, 4-2 straight up in their last 6 games, but they're only 3-10 straight up in their last 13 games at home. Bears home 4-point favorite in this one. Arizona, I don't like it. Arizona to cover, I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like this. I don't
It's
even really
stinky.
know where to go. It's
Stinky.
another stinky game, one of many in this week. I suppose I'll go with the Bears. They're a little banged up. Darnell Mooney's questionable. 2 broken hands, I assume, because he can't catch the ball. However, I mean, the Cardinals could be sneaky here, a backdoor cover. That is a decent amount of points for 2 kind of bad teams. But I guess the Bears are a little bit better right now, so I'll roll Chicago.
Marquee matchup, 10-4 each. Dallas Cowboys, Miami Dolphins, Hard Rock Stadium. Dolphins, a 1.5-point home favorite. Open as pick'em, 1.5. Public money on this game, about 50-50. A slight public edge to the Miami Dolphins as the home favorite here. Let's jump into it. Dallas, 6-3 against the spread their last 9 games, 5-1 straight up in their last 6. And boy, do they play the Dolphins well. Dallas, 5-2 against the spread their last 7 games against Miami, and they are 6-1 in their last 7 against the Dolphins. You flip it over for Miami, 12-5 against the spread their last 17 games, and they are 7-1 straight up in their last 8 games at home. For Dallas, that shocking loss to Buffalo ended a nice 5-game win streak for them with impressive wins over Philly and Seattle in there. And then for Miami, just kicking the hell out of the Jets after that shocking loss to Tennessee. 1.5 for the Dolphins. I'm going to take Miami. You know I don't believe in the Dallas Cowboys. I'm waiting for them to come back down. Give me Miami to cover. Ryan.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Miami as well here. I mean, we know that Dallas is a completely different team on the road, but this is a really interesting game, right? Because both teams, you can make the argument that they really don't have that marquee win. I know the Cowboys did beat the Eagles, but then again, that was at home, and they do seem to kind of be faltering. But I do hope, I expect the Dolphins to get this win, and they need it. I guess they don't need it, but for Mike McDaniels to really prove that, at least for me, that he is a great coach, he needs to win these games.
Merry Christmas. You get the Patriots Broncos on Sunday Night Football. Great. More socks. Fantastic. Thanks, Santa. Patriots 3-11, making that trip out to Mile High. Broncos are on life support. They're at 7-7. This is a 6.5-point spread, opened at 5. All the public money is on the side of Denver. 83% of it over there on Russ Wilson and crew. I'll start with the trends here. New England 3-14-1 against the spread. Their last 18 games, they're 1-6 straight up in their last 7. They're only 1-4 against the spread. Their last 5 games on the road, and they don't even cover. They don't even play well when they go to Denver. New England 5-15 straight up in their last 20 games there at Mile High. For Denver, 6-2 straight up in their last 8. They're 4-1 straight up in their last 5. I mentioned they've owned New England at home. For Denver, they come in all of a sudden losing 2 out of their last 3. Denver's going to win this game. New England's going to cover, though. I think I'm going to take the Patriots to cover here.
Wow, I'm going to disagree.
Freaky game. I get it. It's a freaky game. I'm taking it strictly on the freakism of it.
Okay.
I think they're going to backdoor that somehow.
Okay. Yeah, I guess my logic behind picking Denver was I expect them to really only need to score like 18 points to cover a 6.5-point spread, given how bad that Patriots offense is. You go to Mile High. I don't know. I'll take the Broncos to cover this
Sure,
one.
I completely get it. Triple slate there on Monday for Christmas, 1 o'clock at Arrowhead. What could have been a good matchup really isn't. The Raiders coming in to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. We know the Chiefs kind of issues that they've had over the last couple of weeks. Raiders, you know, Aiden O'Connell, what are you going to do? 10-point spread. Are they going back to Jimmy? I think they got to stick with Aiden O'Connell, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's your potential future quarterback. I mean, especially with the new regime and Antonio Pierce. I mean, realistically, do we think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to fit that? I don't think so.
course, they put up 63 last week on the Chargers on just an absolute butt whooping there for the Raiders. For Kansas City, they got a nice win over New England to stop their 2-game losing slide. We start with the trends on this one. It is a 10-point home spread for Kansas City, 60-40 public money on the side of the Chiefs. Vegas are 4-1-1 against the spread their last 6 games, but they don't play Kansas City that well. Vegas 1-4 against the spread their last 5 games against KC, and they are 0-6 in their last 6 against KC. Vegas has not won their last 5 road games in general either, and Vegas 1-9 straight up in their last 10 games at Arrowhead. So it all points KC in this one. 10, though, is a big number. I'll take KC, I guess.
Yeah, I'm going to take Kansas City as well. For me, Matt, this is going to be the game that kind of decides how confident I am about the Chiefs going into the playoffs, right? A late December game against a division rival at home against a team you're clearly at least should be superior than. But, man, this Chiefs offense has been so weird this year, so I'm going to keep my eye on this game, but give me the Chiefs.
Boy, Philly getting a little dose of reality now on a 3-game losing streak for the Philadelphia Eagles. Can they right the ship? They damn well better as they welcome in the New York Giants and your guy, Tom DeVito.
You know I'm taking. Just write down Giants.
All right, Giants it is. I'm taking Philly, so I guess we really don't have to do the trends, but I'll do them anyway here for everybody else that is a wagering crew there. It is 10, opened at 7.5. It's all the way up. Dude, you got it at 12 at some places, by the way. Oh, it is 12. Why am I keep saying 10? It's 12. It's 12. Public money for this game, 82% of it is on the Philadelphia Eagles, where I will take them to ride this on out. Giants are 5-10 straight up in their last 15. They're 1-6 straight up in their last 7 games on the road. The Giants are on a 10-game losing streak at Lincoln Financial Field, by the way. Giants are 2-12 straight up in their last 14 games against Philly in general. For Philly, again, they've owned the Giants 13-5 straight up in the last 18. So we'll differ. I'll take Philly. Ryan will take the Giants there. He's going to ride with this guy, Tom DeVito. And the marquee game of the weekend, Monday Night Football. The Baltimore Ravens with that long trip out to Levi Stadium to take on the San Francisco 49ers. This is a 5-point spread. It's held steady there all week. Public money about 50-50 on this slight favorite there to the San Francisco 49ers, minus that 5 at home. Of course, we know San Francisco back on the hot streak of all hot streaks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-game win streak. They beat Philly. They beat Seattle twice in there. Beat Arizona last time out. For Baltimore on a 4-game win streak of their own, beating Cincinnati, both the LA teams, and beating Jacksonville up on Monday Night Football the last time out. Baltimore coming in 11-5 against the spread their last 16 games, but they are 8-1 straight up in their last 9 games, 6-1 straight up in their last 7 games on the road. Now, I've got 2 differing stats here for Baltimore versus San Francisco. Baltimore is 5-1 straight up in their last 6 games against San Francisco, but the Ravens have only covered 1 out of their last 5 games against San Francisco. You flip it over for the 49ers, 4-2 straight up in their last 6 games, a 13-1 straight up home record in their last 14, and they do cover at home against Baltimore, 4-1 against the spread their last 5 games when Baltimore makes the long trip out. 5 49ers. Ryan.
Yeah, this is going to be a great game. I'm super excited for it. I am going to take the 49ers to cover that spread. I mean, a credit to the Ravens. I'm surprised they've been able to do what they've done, especially given that Mark Andrews out. But credit to Isaiah Likely, who's kind of stepped up in his absence. However, the 49ers do have one of the best linebacking cores in the league, led by Fred Warner, who I think is the best linebacker in the league. So I expect them to shut that dimension down in the middle of the field. But it's going to be a great game. But I guess I'm going to go with the home favorite here, who I think really has that gap as the best team in the NFL.
I really think this might be a butt whooping on the side of the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers all the live long day. All right, you want to do a little time hop, quick time hop when we return? All right, let's do it. Let's catch a break, tell you about Tipico. We'll get to time hop, wrap things up, and send you off on your pseudo Football Friday here on a Thursday. Stay with us right here on Big Play. All right, let's get to time up. Another day for you, young Ryan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Let's end
Movies.
let's go to the holiday on a hot streak.
Even maybe some of these are holiday themed. I don't know. Maybe we'll have to find that out. We'll get to that coming up in just a little bit when we get to our movies and everything that we need right here with Time Out. But we start, of course, this day in history, the 21st of December. We head back to 2017. Gil Brandt putting out his list of the top young quarterbacks he would build a franchise around. Carson Wentz, Jared Goff, Deshaun Watson, his top 3. He did not put Patrick Mahomes on that list. I mean, at the time, everybody thought Wentz and Goff, right?
Yeah, no.
Everybody was Wentz and Goff, and I mean, it's just like nobody really thought anybody else. There were people that thought Mahomes shouldn't even be in the first round.
I mean,
really thought that.
There was a time when Carson Wentz was really close, maybe an injury. That's all it
He was going to win the MVP.
He was going to win the MVP.
Absolutely. This day, 2014, speaking of former MVP, Browns fall to the Panthers 17-13. Cam Newton had a passing and rushing touchdown. Do you remember this game? He played just 12 days after he flipped his car. He had fractures in his back after a car accident. He came in and beat the Browns. Brian Hoyer took over for an injured Johnny Manziel. And I remember this game, Ryan, because the fans cheered when Hoyer went into the game. He threw a touchdown interception. Browns would fall 17-13 this day in 2014. This day, 2012, Albert Breer reporting that Josh McDaniels' interest in the Browns head coaching opening was not as strong as you would think. He came up every freaking time. Every time the Browns had it open, well, you should go hire Josh McDaniels.
Dodged a bullet there.
Dodged many a bullets there. I'll tell you that. All right, here's your good trivia for the day. This day, 2012, the first video to ever hit 1 billion views on YouTube happened this day, 2012.
Was it a music video?
What was the video? It was a music video.
This might have been a little bit too... Yeah, this is probably too early. 2012... No, because that is way too early. Because I was going to say Despacito. Because I know
that's
that
good.
One,
But that was late. Yeah, it was 2012 was too early for that.
2012. Okay, it's a music video. Is it a Taylor Swift song?
It is not. It is not.
2012, oh, man, that's going to have me racing.
This overtook the world. This song.
Oh. Gangnam Style?
Opum Gangnam Style. Yes!
Let's go.
Gangnam Style becomes the first ever 1 billion view video on YouTube. This day, 2012. This day, 2008, Browns fought to Cincy 14-0. The only interesting thing for this game, Jamal Lewis reached 10,000 career rushing yards. He was the 24th player in NFL history to do that. Very famously, this day, 2006, Nick Saban, coach of the Miami Dolphins. I'm not going to the Alabama Crimson Tide. He would be lying, and he would leave to go to the Alabama Crimson Tide this day, 2006. This day, 1984. There's another little piece for you. BYU beat Michigan 24-17 in the Holiday Bowl. Now, back then, that won you the national championship. Like, that wasn't the national championship game, but you were bestowed the national championship based on voting and all that other kind of stuff. So BYU, who played in the WAC at the time, became the last non-Power 5 school, plus Notre Dame, to win a national championship. That was 1984. Wow. That's somebody not from a Power 5. And now Power 5 schools are the conferences are all gone and they're fixing all this. You see this morning, Florida State now wants out of the ACC?
No surprise
They're
there.
working on that. We'll see how it goes. This day, 1968, Apollo 8 launched. It was the first manned mission to orbit the moon, which they did on Christmas Eve. So that would have been a fun little mission there. This day, 1913, you play crossword puzzles at all?
Yeah.
The first ever crossword puzzle was published in the New York World newspaper. Pretty. I'm more of a Sudoku guy.
Oh, hell no.
You don't like it?
No, I don't like numbers.
Oh, I don't like numbers either, but I like doing it over crossword puzzles. I don't know what to tell you. And a very important day for a lot of people out there because this day, 1891, Dr. James Naismith invented basketball. He came up with 13 rules and tested it with his students in Springfield, Massachusetts. They used a soccer ball, peach baskets, and a 9v9 rule. Do you want to know the funniest thing? They would not remove the bottom of the baskets until 1905.
Wow.
They played 14 years before they realized we should probably take the bottom out of the basket.
A little dangerous.
Could you imagine if every time somebody had to get up and take the ball back out? That'd be an interesting thing. Very happy birthday goes out to tennis legend Chris, don't call me Jim Everett, celebrating a birthday today. Oh, Bruiser. Remember Mike Allstott, fullback for the Buccaneers?
I saw him on Twitter today.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, happy birthday to Mike Allstott. Former Indians pitcher Mike Clevenger, the late great Frank Zappa, Ray Romano, Mike Vitar from Sandlot from the Mighty Ducks, Jane Fonda, and Mr. Samuel L. Jackson. I say Samuel L. Jackson, you think of?
Nick Fury.
That's a good one. I would say Pulp Fiction.
Pulp
But that's
Fiction,
fine,
yeah.
too, for Samuel L. Jackson. All right, get to our movies. We got a lot. We got to fly. All right,
we
first
do.
up. All right, this day, 2018. This is a superhero movie. And you just got to stay away from a certain area of the world, and you don't got to deal with this guy.
What?
If you stay away from a certain part of our world, you pretty much stay away from this superhero. It is a running joke about this superhero that all I have to do is stay away from 70%.
Aquaman.
Aquaman.
Yeah,
is
that
correct.
makes sense.
You stay out of the water.
Okay.
It's supposed to be Aquaman.
Yeah.
They tried. I don't think it's real good. I've heard good things about the new one. I don't know. Aquaman this day 2018. All right, next up, a animated film this day 2016. I don't want to like give it away.
Coco.
No.
Finding Dory.
No. This is a musical film. And even musical in the title of the film. It's an amazing cast of voice people in this. Matthew McConaughey, Reese Witherspoon, Seth MacFarlane, Scarlett Johansson, John C. Reilly, Taron Egerton, Tori Kelly, Nick Kroll, all in this movie.
It's a singing one? Is it called Sing?
It's called Sing.
Okay.
Yeah, have you seen Sing?
No,
It's
no,
a great.
no.
Even as an adult, I love the movie Sing. It came out this day, 2016. All right, this day, 2001. I'll give you a layup here. Method Man and Redman.
What'd you say?
Method Man and Redman.
Method Man and Redman.
You
That's
know who
not
those
ringing a
are?
bell. It's not ringing a bell,
Nothing?
Matt. No. Method Man and Redman.
Spawned a sequel 18 years later. How High. Have you ever heard of How High?
No.
Method Man, Redman, nothing?
No.
All right, they're in that movie. There it is. All right, this day, 1994.
Wait, what's the movie called?
How High?
Oh,
Oh,
okay,
How High? You've never
okay.
seen How High?
No,
Yeah,
no,
How
no.
High. This is this day, 2001. All right, this day, 1994. Kevin McAllister has a McDonald's inside of his house.
What?
Kevin McAllister
Right?
has a McDonald's inside of his house.
So it's starring Macaulay Culkin?
Correct.
Richie Rich?
Richie Rich is correct.
Oh,
nice,
shit.
nice. Yeah,
Okay.
there you go. Nice. Yeah, this day, 1994. All right, this day, 1990. The Governator. He's got to deal with a ruly bunch of kids. Unruly bunch of kids.
What is that one called? I know the movie, but I can't think of the title.
Kindergarten
Cop.
is
Yes,
correct.
yes. Thank
Kindergarten
you.
Cop this day, 1990. And we'll take you way back on this day. 1937. Don't eat the apple.
Don't eat the apple. Adam and Eve?
No. I mean,
Don't eat the apple.
you're not wrong on that. But yes.
Who's not supposed to eat an apple? Don't eat an apple.
Or who's not supposed to eat an apple?
Adam and Eve.
Outside of the biblical, yes.
Oh, don't,
37, so a long time ago, and it was an animated film.
you might have got me on the
Snow White.
Oh,
Snow White.
duh.
Snow White. I didn't want to say anything Seven Dwarfs. That's giving it away.
Yeah, no, I should have
Giving it
got
away. Snow White is your final one there. All right, folks, that's it for us. We got to fly on a Thursday. We really appreciate everybody. It's a holiday season, so we certainly send our thanks out to everybody that spends a few minutes with us in the morning. We really appreciate it. To everybody here at Big Play, to Dave, to Ken, to Ryan, to Nick, to Bohm, to Chico, and really, Greg and Blake and Bruce and everybody, literally. So happy to be here. We're so happy that you're a part of it as well with us. So a very happy holiday season to you and yours. Ryan, to you and your family, very happy holidays, bro. Appreciate everything that you do for us. We're going to be off for a couple of days. We're off tomorrow. We'll be off Monday, Tuesday. We'll be back on Wednesday, Thursday, and maybe even Friday next week. We'll see how it goes. So enjoy the hell out of the weekend. Stay safe out there. Spend time with your family. and our winner of the bracket.
Oh,
Ryan.
I thought you were gonna miss it.
No, you know.
I thought you were gonna miss it.
Quick, we gotta go.
Christmas Vacation. Congratulations, Matt. No surprise there. Won over Home Alone, A Christmas Story, and Elf. It was my pick. I believe you said Home Alone.
Yeah, but everybody's going to watch those movies all the weekend.
Congratulations to Christmas Vacation.
Sit on down, watch it with the family this weekend. Enjoy the hell. Stay safe. Stay warm out there. Enjoy it. We'll talk to you on Wednesday of next week. For Ryan Tyler, I'm Matt Fontana. Very Merry Christmas. Very happy holidays to everybody out there. And as always, take it easy.